I was having a conversation with a friend last week about the difference between transparency and vulnerability, and it broke my brain a little bit and kind of reframed a lot. Because through the conversation, they helped me understand that just because you share a lot about yourself, just because you're transparent about yourself, doesn't mean that you're letting yourself be known per se. Because being known, how you know someone is understanding their why, understanding what makes them tick, and so you can predict their behavior. But just knowing a bunch of information about someone doesn't mean that you actually know them. And as someone who's very transparent but not necessarily vulnerable, I've gotten better at the vulnerability piece, but I've always been transparent. I now understand why people have struggled to know me. And if you are also a transparent person where you feel like you share a lot about yourself, but you also feel like you kind of hide in plain sight at the same time. And I don't even think that people do this intentionally. I didn't do it intentionally. It was something that I realized over the years that I do, which is I share all this information about myself. People feel like they're really close to me, but they also have this inkling that they don't really know me. And this conversation broke my brain for many reasons. One, because I didn't even realize that I was doing this, but two, because it gave me a really tremendous insight into how we feel connected to each other and truly how binary it is, kind of. I made a video last week on the different levels of thinking, and someone in the comments had kind of asked, can you have different levels of thinking at different areas of your life? And I think one of those areas where many people may still be in binary thinking is how we connect with and understand each other. Because if your belief system is dynamic, if who you are is dynamic and your why is dynamic and you allow that to be, then are you then someone that's untrustworthy because you allow yourself to change? And I find that that's what ends up happening when people change in front of our eyes. We start to feel like we can't trust them or we don't know them anymore. But why do we need to have people pinned down to feel like we know them? Or maybe this video is just a long-winded Aquarian's way of saying, why do you need to know my why? And I used to always kind of wonder why it is that as an Aquarius myself, I have an Aquarius stellium, I get along so well with Scorpios, like so well with Scorpios. It's because Scorpios are the same way, except they're not transparent. I think like a Scorpio is not vulnerable, not transparent, will not let you in. An Aquarius, I think this is why we're so difficult to understand, is transparent, very open with their time and energy, not vulnerable, not even a little bit vulnerable. I've gotten better at the vulnerability part, explaining my why, fleshing out publicly my raison d'être. But I don't even think that's something that we need from people. I think it's a control thing. Like, we want to control the situation, the dynamic. I think we should be able to take people as they are, ever changing, as they present themselves to us that day, that month, that week. But I also recognize that that perspective takes some getting used to.